17 Ovid, Roman poet metamorphoses, dies at 59. In 1512 Sant, Regent of Sweden, dies at 52. In 1514 William Smyth, English bishop statesman, dies at 54. In 1543 Francesco da Milano, Italian lutenist and composer, also known as Il Divino, dies at 45. In 1557 Pontormo, Italian painter Sepulture of Christ, dies at 62. In 1685 Harbottle Grimston, English politician, Speaker of the House of Parliament during the Civil War, dies at 82. In 1694 Henry Booth, 1st Earl of Warrington, English politician who supported William Roman III, dies at 42. In 1726 Domenico Zipoli, Italian organist and composer, dies at 37. In 1740 Johann Georg Weichenberger, Austrian lutenist and composer, dies at 63. In 1763 John Carteret, 2nd Earl Granville C. English Chief Minister 1722-42, dies at 72. In 1780 Johann Ludwig Krebs, German Baroque organist and composer, dies at 66. In 1789 Franz Joseph Léon Teisserenc of Württemberg, Swiss composer and organist, dies at 68. In 1790 Joseph Anton Feuchtmayer, German Rococo sculptor, dies at 73. In 1801 Johann Kaspar Lavater, Swiss writer, philosopher, founder of physiognomics, dies at 59. In 1803 Ignaz Franz von Beecke, German composer, dies at 69. In 1819 Maria Luisa of Parma, Queen of Charles Roman IV of Spain, dies at 67. In 1861 Frederick William Roman IV, King of Prussia 1840-61 and Germany 1849-61, dies at 65. In 1863 Roger Weightman Hanson, American Brigadier General Confederate Army, dies in Battle of Murfreesboro at 35. In 1868 John Doyle, Irish portrait painter and leading political caricaturist, grandfather of Arthur Conan Doyle, dies at about 71. In 1888 Isaac Ridgeway Trimble, Major General in the Confederate Army and civil engineer, dies at 85. In 1892 Frederick William Barber, South African frontiersman and scientist, dies at 78. In 1892 George Biddell Airy, English mathematician and 7th Astronomer Royal, dies at 90. In 1893 John Obadiah Westwood, British entomologist, dies at 87. In 1904 Mathilde Bonaparte, French princess daughter of Napoleon's brother Jérôme Bonaparte, and his second wife, Catharina of Württemberg, daughter of King Frederick I of Württemberg and socialite, dies at 83. In 1913 Léon Teisserenc de Bort, French meteorologist, discovered the stratosphere, dies at 57. 1915 Karolika Goldmark, Hungarian Viennese violinist and composer, Rustic Wedding Symphony, the Queen of Sheba, Sacketaler, dies at 84. In 1917 Edward Burnett Tyler, English anthropologist, primitive culture, dies at 84. In 1918 Sijp Cornelis Bakker, Dutch Christian socialist and reformed preacher, dies at 42. In 1923 Sam Carter, African-American resident of Rosewood, Florida, lynched in the Rosewood Massacre. In 1924 Sabine Baring-Goode, English composer and novelist, dies at 89. In 1929 Erich Wichmann, Dutch fascist painter and sculptor, dies at 38. In 1933 William Kidd Gleason, American baseball utility St. Louis Browns and White Giants, Philadelphia Phillies and manager Chicago White Sox, during Black Sox scandal, dies from a heart condition at 66. In 1936 Sir Francis Newdigate, English politician, Governor of Tasmania, Western Australia, dies at 73. In 1937 Ross Alexander, American stage and film actor, Captain Blood, Boulder Dam, commits suicide by gunshot at 29. In 1939 Roman Dmowski, Polish politician, dies at 74. In 1941 Mieczysław Lewicki, Russian-born American pianist and composer, The Enchanted Nymph, dies of a heart attack at 42. In 1945 Bertram Home Ramsay, English naval officer, admiral, who oversaw Dunkirk evacuations and Normandy landings, dies during a plane crash in France at 61. In 1946, Joe Dowling, Australian cricket batsman and captain 34 tests, 21 as captain, 3 X100s, TS 178, South Australia CA, dies following a gallbladder operation at 75. In 1948, Jatindra Mohan Bagchai, Indian Bengali poet, dies at 69. German actor Forrest, the Blue Angel, The Way of All Flesh, dies of liver cancer at 65. In 1950, James Dooley, Irish-Australian Premier of New South Wales, dies at 72. In 1951, Sir William Campion, Governor of Western Australia, dies at 80. In 1953, Guccio Gucci, Italian founder of Gucci Fashion House, dies at 71. In 1955, José Antonio Ramón, President of Panama 1952-55, assassinated at 46. In 1960, Cornelis de Lesueur, Dutch actor and director hate comedy, dies at 60. In 1960, Chris van Aggoed, Dutch-American writer and novelist Piet Bell, Kruimelt, dies at about 79. Italian cyclist Giro d'Italia 1940, 47, 49, 50, 2-53, Tour de France 1949, 52, World Championship Gold Individual Pursuit 1947, Road Race 1953, dies from malaria at 40. In 1960, Friedrich Adler, Austrian socialist politician and revolutionary, assassinated Count von Storch, dies at 80. In 1960, Paul Sauve, Canadian lawyer, WW2 veteran, and 17th Premier of Quebec 1959-60, dies at 52. In 1961, Bob Catterall, South African cricket batsman, 24 tests, 3 X100s, HS 120, Transvaal, Natal, dies at 60. In 1963, Dick Powell Richard Ewing Powell, American singer, actor, producer and director, Cry Danger, Dick Powell Theatre, dies from cancer at 58. In 1963, Jack Casson, Canadian-American actor, Star is Born, Mildred Pierce, dies at 52. In 1968, Marvin Bud Ward, American golfer, U.S. amateur 1939, 41, dies of cancer at 54. In 1968, Sanusi Payne, Indonesian writer and journalist, founded news agency Antar, dies at 62. In 1969, George Renevant Georges Deschaux, French actor, Moulin Rouge, Scotland Yard, Comrade X, dies at 74. In 1970, Peter Reitel, Polish composer, dies at 85. In 1971, Lloyd Hall, African-American chemist and pioneer in food chemistry, science of food preservation, dies at 76. In 1971, Richard Maxwell Dick Haldane, South African trade unionist, dies at 62. In 1971, Willard Maas, American educator and experimental filmmaker, dies at 64. In 1973, Joe Harriet, Jamaican British bebop and freeform jazz and world fusion,